Okay, and then we're starting that. And your music bed is coming in a very short time. I need to rewind it.
It's the Manguno Drive Show, the Manguno Drive production, and on this week's show, Caitlin and Tony will be recounting their trip back home. So we'll take a look at some news stories and other fun topics on today's show, the Manguno Drive Show.
Yay! I picked some surf music.
Oh, yeah, it was fun. I liked it.
It's by a band called Halloween. So I figured since it's almost Halloween, I'd do some.
I was wondering where the surf music came in
Halloween
because we're in
stuff.
Seattle.
Well, surf music just is sort of, you know,
It's like hillbilly music. It's just, it's there.
it just feels good. Much like myself. So hi everybody.
I thought you were gonna say something else.
What was I gonna say?
Nothing. Moving on.
Moving on. Okay then. All right. So welcome to the show, everybody. This is our second show of all time.
Yeah.
Now we didn't have shows yet last week or the week prior because we're lazy fucks. No,
That's
actually.
not why.
Because we were a bit busy traveling around the U.S. See, Tony and I, Tony's over there, went home for a while, and we had to go and check in on things that were going on down at the wedding venue because we're getting married. Maybe. So, how are you guys?
I'm good.
I'm getting married, maybe.
How was the,
I hear that about you.
How was the trip?
The trip was interesting. My gathering is that you don't ever want to drive through Texas sideways or through Utah upways. That's my advice. Because it's just long and boring.
Oh.
Like the first video we did, there are some videos that we did that they're on the they're going to be on the YouTube site. By the way, the YouTube site took me frickin' forever to put up because YouTube is like Google now. And Google wants YouTube to be like, first of all, okay, here's the thing. Everybody in the frickin' world wants to be Facebook. And I'm getting kind of tired of it. Because like everybody's adjusting what they do to be Facebook now. So if you sign up for a YouTube account, like you can sign up as a person, but like I'm trying to sign up as a business because we've got obviously a podcast. So people are trying to, find us under that. But it keeps wanting to go back and make it my name. So like personally, I have like 6 YouTube accounts now because every time I try to do it as Manguno Drive, it says, okay, well, we're going to link this to your Google Plus page, and now it's your real name up there. And I'm like, so they want me to be me, and they don't want me to be anybody else.
Right.
But they can let me be me 6 times, is what was kind of annoying. So, finally, long story short, you're supposed to say too late. Thank you.
Oh.
Long story short, the YouTube channel is now called Manguno Drive Show. So if you go to Manguno Drive Show on the YouTube, then you'll find everything going on.
On the YouTube?
On the
Is that
YouTube.
like
That's what my dad says. On the YouTube.
the ATM machine?
The interwebs. So up there right now currently is the first podcast that we did. But I will soon be uploading the videos from the trip. Some of the videos of the trip are on YouTube, but it's like an Easter egg hunt to go and find them because it's one of 6 different accounts that I created that who knows where they are now.
Well, one thing that we realized too with the videos, I think we were expecting to have a whole lot more than we actually did. My car, and probably most cars, do not charge iPads, so we have a lot of lack of technology out
I mean,
in the
even with those
wilderness.
solar cells and everything.
I
and
know.
the-
Every time we went to video to record something very interesting, we had no way to really do it, or, you know.
Well, you could have powered it, but you would have had to drop below 30 miles an hour to do it.
Well, iPads come with that now. You have like a little wind turbine that you stick out the window.
Do.
Now, iPad surprisingly hard to keep charged on the road. But the thing was, what I was going to say too is more than just keeping the iPad charged was just keeping life charged, because all the way through Oregon was just Oregon. It was just
Yeah,
dirt.
there was a whole lot of nothing going on for a
Yeah.
lot of our trip.
So it's like, we'd power up the camera and be like, okay, let's talk about what we're doing. We're just driving for the next 15 hours and nothing's going to happen. I was really surprised. Like, moving to the Northwest was cool because it's pretty up here. Seattle's pretty, Tacoma even is a kind of pretty,
You take that back.
Portland is Portland's annoying, but it's pretty, and that part of Oregon's pretty.
There
But
goes all our Portland viewers.
you drive from here to Colorado, and that's it. Like if you like flat desert, it's pretty for 2 minutes, but.
Yeah. Well, who was it? I mean, somebody famous or I read somewhere. The United States, basically, you've got the East Coast, you've got the West Coast, and you've got about half a dozen cities in the middle that are worth a visit. And then everything else is just God's country. And there's really no reason to go there.
Well, you're
unless
also
you're
reminded.
gonna raise cattle.
You're also reminded, like, how much of the country has, like, nothing on it. Like, I always feel like we're overpopulated. We were saying this, but, like...
It's because everybody moves to the cities.
It's because everyone
Yeah.
lives in Portland.
Yeah, it's funny. We're not overpopulated. We're under distributed.
Yeah.
Apparently, because there's like wide swaths of just like nothing.
Well, that's because there's nothing out there. There's nothing to see and nothing to do, and
I guess.
Well, I'm starting to question if anyone actually lives
we need
in
another
Utah.
dozen or so Branson, Missouris. Just put that out in the middle of nowhere and let people show up to it and see what happens.
Branson's like Vegas, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to Branson with my parents when I was younger. It was interesting. We saw Ray Stevens at the Ray Stevens Theater.
Ray Stevens is a hoot.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah, you're too young for Ray Stevens. It's all right. You dodged
Santa
that
Claus
bullet.
Is Watching You. You never heard that one? Misty, one of his favorite songs.
The Streak.
Streak. That's why they call him the Streak.
Oh, he's a singer?
Look at him.
I wouldn't call him a singer.
He's the country version of Weird Al. Yeah,
See, I wouldn't even give him that moniker. See, I hate that. See, you know that guy? You know the annoying cable guy that talks like this all the time?
Larry the Cable Guy.
Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh, that guy, yes.
He's my parents' generation's Larry the Cable Guy.
Okay.
Yeah, and he wrote this song called
You would
"The Street."
appreciate that association.
Well, I don't appreciate his work either. The only funny thing I saw that entire trip in Branson was he was this was at Ray Stevens. I'll give him this. He was singing Misty, which he does every 30 seconds, and as he's in the middle of Misty, the platform he's sitting on rises up into the air, and underneath it is a fire-breathing dragon, and then it lowers back into the stage. He finishes the song. He stands up and takes a bow.
It's hilarious.
That was the
actually.
funniest thing I'd seen that whole time, and it was, I don't know.
And it had nothing to do with the song.
Nothing
Dude.
to do
It was
with
just a
him.
fucking dragon pops
It
up
was
suddenly.
just a little bit of production value that I thought was nice. So
Now I want to go.
anyway, there were good things that happened on the trip, though, I have to say. We ended up in Hot Springs.
Lava Hot Springs.
Yeah, Lava Hot Springs, Idaho. So once you do get through, the boring Oregon part, you've got Idaho. And what's interesting about that place is I expected it to be a like this huge place, this huge vacation destination. It's been there forever, but it's not. It's just these. It's basically like 4 hot tubs and it's just sitting there, and
But
it's in the middle of
they
nowhere.
were heated by the ground, right?
It
Hot
is,
tub?
yeah. It's heated by. I couldn't really get a whole lot. They don't have a whole lot of history there.
Was
There's
there
like,
was there lava at least? It's called Lava Hot
No.
Springs. Where the hell were the lava?
I think the lava's in
There were
the
lots
cave.
of old people.
What the hell does that have to do with lava? What the...
There were a lot of that. I don't know.
Okay.
No, it's hard to realize that what's below you is actually like the ground. The lava is naturally heating that up, but when you're actually in it, it's still difficult to believe. It's kind of like, well, there's there's a heater.
Yeah.
They hide it very well.
Yeah, what's interesting is when you get down there, there's how am I trying to say this? Like, what you don't expect is that under your feet is gravel. So it's like soaking in a flooded barbecue pit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'd say that's pretty accurate. So, but it's cool though. I mean, it's just like it's like a hot tub without the jets. Although they did have one with the jets, but that was, but that band hasn't played for years, so.
Dope.
Anyway.
Okay.
But no, Lava Hot. I recommend it. I mean, it was nice. One thing.
Was it reasonable?
It was. It was like $7 or something.
Yeah.
It was
What do
very
you get
cool.
for $7?
What was funny?
The full day to sit and do to just sit.
What else was there besides soaking?
That's it.
Tetherball at least or
No,
something?
that's
No.
all.
I got the feeling, and this sort of was corroborated as we were leaving that night. I think that it's the place it's a very, very small town, very small. And I think it's the only place in town to go. So it's like, but it's really, I think it's really like when you're a young person, it's where you take your date. But I think that's very smart though, because now you get to see your date and your skivvies pretty early on,
Okay.
Yeah, because you're sitting in a pool.
Yeah, everybody's in their.
Yeah, but you said old people are there too, so you're
During
Well,
the day.
That's why I didn't take much video of that place.
Well, no, it's one thing that I was gonna say. It's cool to go to, but you'll want to go really late at night, and probably in the winter,
When it's cooler. And it's
because
comfortable.
you get hot really quickly. So if it's not like,
Hot tub.
yeah, it's weird how that works. So if it's not like really late and cool and breezy or snowy outside, then it doesn't really give that effect. So.
Right. So pretty much the only interesting thing between here and I'd say Colorado,
Oh, in
pretty
Colorado.
much.
What'd you do in Colorado?
Colorado was very interesting. We had a friend who lives in Colorado.
Well, we still have him. I guess.
Yeah, well,
Maybe not after the video.
I wasn't gonna talk about what happened there, but no, I'm kidding. It's we have a friend in Colorado, and they're Jewish, so we had to be very secretive about visiting them. And actually, from what I understand, he lives in Boulder, and actually, what I understand, Boulder's pretty Jewish.
Why does it have to be secretive to visit a Jewish person?
It was a joke. It's a Jew joke. People don't like Jews in general, But
Jews do.
I do. I like them.
Oy.
But
I don't have a problem with them.
I'm one incognito.
I see.
I mean, I feel pity for them. They can't have ham. I love ham.
Ham is a good thing, and bacon.
No
Some
Why would you
Jews
not want bacon?
Some Jews are fake Jews.
Well, some
So-
Christians are fake Christians. Almost
No,
all
we
Christians
visited
are
the
fake Christians.
Garlicks, and they were. I go to Colorado pretty often, so I've been there. You've
Mm-hmm.
never been to Boulder. What did you think of Boulder?
Boulder was boring too, I have to say. Well, no, it was interesting because there's a college there, and that's all they kept saying was okay, well, there's a college here. There's 20,000 students, and they learn stuff. And I'm like, okay. And so it's a vibrant arts community, right? It's a lot of theaters around. Oh, well, no.
No, leave that learning in the schoolroom where it belongs.
Right,
Don't
yes.
take it out there in the street.
So it is a weird place because it's an intellectual place, like Debbie, the Robert's wife, one of our Jew friends there. She was saying that it's a lot of intelligent, nerdy types, like the weather service is there, like one of the main weather
They have one of the largest
bureaus.
telescopes as well because it's so high up in the atmosphere.
Right. So it's like it's really there's a lot of smart people, but then there's not any arts there. Like at least we could see. So
Mork and Mindy was filmed in Boulder, Colorado.
They told us
We
about
saw the house actually.
Really?
Did we?
I grew up
Nanu,
watching
Nanu.
that show. I'd
We
probably
did.
like go checking that out.
that. Mm-hmm. And also, Sleeper was shot there. At least a scene from Sleeper was shot there. So
Yeah,
Boulder was interesting. We slept in a bed that night. That was nice.
that was pretty cool.
Here's the thing with camp. I don't know if we just do it wrong, so maybe somebody can listen and can tell us. But every time we've been camping since we've known each other, we freeze our frickin' asses off. And
It's because it gets very cold at night and you're supposed to bring
Yeah.
a lot of warmth.
3 blankets, jackets, sweatpants, socks, a puppy. I don't know what else to do.
You have to learn to retain your heat inside of your sleeping bag by getting a specialized sleeping bag that holds your body temperature in.
So we should cuddle more.
Yeah.
in a sleeping bag, that's got to be a bit constricting.
Two-person sleeping bag would work, yeah.
Though. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. It's weird.
I've only camped in South Louisiana, so I've never had to worry about freezing at night. But,
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll take cold over mosquitoes, but
true that, yeah.
it was.
That shit.
I love everything about camping except for the actual sleeping at night thing.
We just need
I've been
like
miserable
a
every
big,
single time.
hairy man to sleep next to you to keep you warm.
I'm not hairy. I was there, but I wasn't hairy.
We woke up to elk prancing around our tent. the
That's
last-
cool. Really, prancing.
they were grazing, I guess.
I've never seen an elk asshole before, but now I have.
This was at
Because-
the Grand Canyon too, which made it even more.
This was on the
awesome.
way back. The way back was like, here's the thing. A 2,700 mile drive sounds great until you're in the middle of it. And you go, oh, look at that. We have 26 hours left to go or something like that. And I just want to be home. I just want to be somewhere that isn't Utah.
That's where these places where you can pull over and get a plane ticket and go home and someone will drive your car the rest of the way for you. They make gangbuster business out there in the middle of
Well, it was
Yeah, I
great
think it was
going
cool.
there. I think it was the realization, like, oh, now we have to get back.
Yeah. So on the way back, she had never been to the Grand Canyon, so this is kind of my gift on the way back. I was like, going a weird way to get up, and we got to the Grand Canyon's a hard. This is some advice. A Grand Canyon is a hard secret to keep from somebody.
Yeah, you can't just like drive up to it and like, oh, there it is.
Well, I didn't really. It took a while, but
What's this big ditch over here?
eventually.
Look at that. It's hard to wrap too.
Oh. Well, there's also just not much going on in like New
What you
Mexico
should have
and
done
Arizona.
is you should have put a gift wrapped bag over her head, told her it was a surprise, and then lean her out over the edge and say, "Okay, take it off." That would have been funny.
Well, for a while I wasn't quite sure until every other sign was like Grand Canyon this way.
Right. Grand Canyon is cool. I went when I was 12, and I almost fell in it, and because there's not
You're
a
the
whole
reason
lot
why
of
they put those steel cables around the edge.
What are you doing?
I need a power cord to my computer.
Oh, I don't have one.
Okay.
Wait. So, what was I saying?
You
You're
almost fell
interrupting
in.
the show. Huh?
You almost fell in.
I almost fell in, and I thought that because that was because as a kid in I guess I was 12, so the early 80s, that we just weren't all that concerned about safety near a big huge hole like that, and so they really didn't have railings very tall or things like that. Now that I've been back, 20 some odd years later, they still have no no concern over safety there. Like, I can't believe they don't have 7 people a day fall into the Grand Canyon.
Well, I mean, they want that to look as natural and as pristine as possible.
The way, it was intended when it was made a national park.
Right.
So they have people at the gate when you first drive in, and they take a look at everyone in your car, and they look for the one who looks the stupidest, and they look them right in the eye and says, "No, don't fall in." And then they've covered themselves basically
gotcha.
from
All right, I gotcha.
liability.
Well, I looked it up, and actually that was something to do on the way back, was to look up the Grand Canyon deaths over the last few years. And There've been like 600 since the 1870s. But what I remember is like, believe it or not, most of them were from like severe heat stroke and heart attacks and a plane crash. Like actually, not very many were from like accidental falls. There've been some suicides, but not falls.
I was thinking that the whole time. I was like, if I was gonna commit suicide, like that's the place to do it. You know what I mean? Like, screw that whole Golden Gate Bridge thing. Like, you know, that's like Golden Gate Bridge is where you commit suicide if you're just an attention whore. Grand Canyon's where you do it if you just want to get it done. You know what I mean? Is that dark? That's dark.
I don't know. You had a lot of rocks and
cactus on the way down. I think that would, if you really hate yourself a lot, that's the way you want to go out.
One would think.
I want to die in the worst painful way possible.
Yeah.
I want to be screaming and cursing on the way down.
My what was I saying? Oh, but it's really, it's a very odd thing because it's really, it's an optical illusion, not only visually but just mentally too, I think, because I think that's what happens is people go, oh, it's just a big hole, let's go walk to the bottom of it, you know, and then 2 days later when you're screaming for your mommy, then you know.
Yeah, there are signs which are pretty interesting. We should upload them.
Yeah, I've got lots of pictures from the trip. I'm going to go ahead and upload them. If you just go to mangunodrive.com, we'll have the pictures up there. I'll have the picture of the elk ass for you guys. See, what happened was we woke up freezing as normal, and there were suddenly elk just like walking through the campsite. Like, not even like Karen, like, excuse me, elk coming through. Now, here's the thing. I couldn't tell an elk from a deer. I think elks are hairier, but they didn't have the antlers. So I thought elks always had antlers, but apparently they don't. I don't know my biology.
not even deer keep their antlers all year round.
Oh, they like hang them up every now and then and put them like.
They shed them. And
People from the south kill them and steal them and hang them on their walls.
Oh, is that what it is? No, but you kill the whole thing. You don't just like take the antlers and say, okay, well, see you next year.
I don't know how it works actually.
Great meeting up with you this year.
No, but the elk were interesting. They were so much cooler than everyone else that were taking pictures.
They were so much cooler than the people that were there. I gotta agree with that. The bum. Oh, what I was gonna say is they're not very photogenic. Like, they don't turn to you and look at you and like let you take a picture. They turn their ass at you. But the thing is, the elk ass is different than any other ass I've ever seen. Because normally asses are protected in general. You know what I mean? It's like you look at even a human ass, it's got the cheeks there that are just kind of like, you know, keeping that whole lot of harm's way, you know. I mean, you guys.
When you put it that way.
I mean, if you want something up your ass, you spread the cheeks to get it up there, you know. It's like you're kind of inviting that. You know, but generally it's protected. You know, and you've got like a dog ass or a donkey ass or, you know, that kind of thing, or an ass, I guess, if it's a donkey. And, you know, and it's got the flap. You got the tail there that's kind of saying, hey, stay out of there, right? Not with an elk.
It's an open ass.
Elk's got a big, hairy, open ass, just like waiting for whatever it is that hairy, open elk asses are waiting for.
All right.
You spent far too much time thinking about this subject.
Jeez.
Sorry.
No, my favorite sign at the Grand Canyon was, oh shoot. Like.
OSHA?
OSHA. No.
OSHA don't know nothing about that place.
No, like recovery not guaranteed or rescue not guaranteed.
Yeah, it was like.
At the bottom.
They had a list. We'll upload the picture because it was on this placard as well. But it's like, here are all the different excursions you can go on. So, you know, there's the 5-minute hike. You know, it's moderately severe. Here's the 10-minute hike. You know, it's kind of severe. And then they have like the full day hike, and it says, don't do this by yourself because rescue's not guaranteed. You know, I'm just thinking, is rescue ever guaranteed? Like, isn't that the whole nature of rescue? But whatever. So Grand Canyon was cool. But the coolest thing by far, I'm actually going to be positive for once in my life here. Coolest thing by far, yet strange. It's called the Cosmosphere. and it's right in the middle of is Kansas, right?
Kansas.
What was it? Like Wilkinson? What was the name of the place?
Hutchinson,
Kansas, which is there's nothing else there. It's just houses. It's a mid-size like town, but right in the middle is this place called the Cosmosphere, and it's got just it's space flight, so it's got everything. There are things that have been in space and back in this place, and it from what I understand, like reading about it, it's everything that the Smithsonian couldn't fit. So Hutchinson just said, "Hey, we'll take it," you know. And I think it was before Apollo 13 kind of was known. So they kind of got their hands on that first, and so Apollo 13, the capsule, is there. It's in that, but that's the Apollo 13. It's actually in that building. I physically saw it with my own eyes. It's kind of cool.
It's a bit deceiving too, because you go into it thinking it's only U.S. space, that you'll be learning about. But the first few rooms for sure, it's nothing but Germany and Hitler.
It's all about Hitler.
Yeah, it's all about the beginning of war that leads into bright, sunny U.S. space stations.
Here's the one of the things too that this gets me the geek eyes whenever I start talking about this, but I'll talk about it anyway. It's one of the coolest museums I've ever seen because it's designed emotionally. The first thing you do is you go into these really tight hallways with these like cylinders of glass that are telling you the history of World War II, the history of like Hitler, forcing his rocket scientists to come up with missiles that will be able to destroy from distances. Blah blah blah. It's all war. Everything's red. Everything's claustrophobic. There are actual V2 rockets there, and they're like maybe 5 feet above your head, and the whole time you're in this section you just feel overwhelmed and just icky. And as you go through and as the war ends, and historically as the war ends, the ceilings get a little bit higher, and we're talking about the Berlin Wall coming down. There's actually a large piece of the Berlin Wall in this place. As you get to touch that, that's really cool. And then it starts to expand more and more and more and more until you finally get into using this technology, this rocket technology that was used for killing. They're finally using it for space exploration, and the commies and us, doing it together. So there's stuff from both sides of the space race. But what I'm getting at is that the more you get into just human enlightenment, the bigger and larger the rooms get until you're finally in a room with a life-size lunar module, which I think was actually one of their test modules. It didn't actually go up, obviously, but it was what they used to train and things like that. And it's just mentally, it's a freeing experience. I know how nerdy that sounds, but it was one of the coolest things. I never really experienced that in any other museum. Normally it's just a room and they put paintings on the wall, but like someone that was really, really thinking.
And the fact that they went out of their way to get actual pieces of history and have it there where people can experience, people that couldn't be, like you said, at the Berlin Wall, or people that couldn't be at Cape Canaveral or any of those other things, to be up there and actually touch those and.
It was pretty freaking awesome, I have to say. It's like it goes down as one of... I've done a lot of things. I've traveled a lot. Like, it goes down as one of the coolest things I've ever done. Like, it's that cool. There's an actual piece. There's an actual moon rock in there. It's really funny, too, because everything's pretty open. You can touch things here and there. The things that they don't want you touching are in glass cases or whatnot. You get to the moon rock, and it's in a box maybe like 2 feet high by a foot wide. It's not a very big piece of rock. But there's at least like 4 or 5 like motion detectors inside of the glass. Yeah. And there's like...
You can tell it's like bulletproof glass.
It's like you can tell the security, the price of the security that goes into that moon rock far exceeds the entire building. Yeah. It's nobody's taking that freaking moon rock. So that was interesting to see. It sparkles a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't realize that the moon kind of sparkled. And you know what? Tastes nothing like green cheese.
Because he broke in. Obviously. Really? No, if you ever find yourself in Hutchinson, Kansas, for any reason, stop by for sure.
Yeah. Now, one thing that was really creepy there is a apparently Russia or Germany, I guess. No, it was Russia. I guess the space race was with us. Was the Russians?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not the Germans. It started in Germany. Okay, see, I'm getting my history straight. The Russian space program, they like we kind of expanded in design. Like eventually we came up with this with the shuttle and things like that. But then you've got the Russians kept building balls for some reason. Like every spaceship they built, like, you know, starting with Sputnik, which was basically a ball that went out into space, they just started making bigger and bigger balls. So over time, Russia's gotten bigger balls. But which is a good and bad thing, I guess. But anyway, what I'm getting at is one of their balls, I don't know which, it was later in the 60s or 70s that they built this spaceship that went out. It's in a glass case there. I don't know if it's the actual spaceship or if this is just a mock-up or something, but whatever. It was a very detailed model if it wasn't the real thing. On the inside where you get into the capsule, there is a picture or like a drawing of an alien. Like an alien face. And I thought for sure that there would be some sort of explanation about what that is, but absolutely not. It's just the very classic, and I'll put the photo up on the website so everyone can see it, but it's just an alien face painted on the inside of a spaceship from Russia.
Like a little graffiti or something.
I guess. It looks very official is the thing. You know, that's what got me. It's like, you know, the little conspiracy, you know, gremlin in my head, like, started knocking.
Like, welcome cosmonaut to Space 101. This is what you're looking for.
Right.
See this face. Please let us know.
So I just thought it odd that there was no explanation for it. So perhaps Tootsie seems to have something to say.
She wants to be on her daddy's
Well,
lap.
I was holding her earlier and she didn't like that, and now she wants to be back here again. I don't know. She's just an attention whore.
Because she's an attention whore.
An attention puppy bitch. So speaking of space,
What?
you want to do some news for us?
Oh yeah, sure. So I'm sure everyone except for Paul apparently heard about the.
Paul was busy.
We'll get to that in a moment. The Red Bull mission today.
Red Bull? What, like the Red Bull?
Sponsored by Red Bull, the
Oh
drink.
wow, this is all a promotional stunt.
Because Red Bull gives you wings.
Wow.
Finally makes sense, doesn't it? His name is Felix Baumgartner.
His name's Baum.
Baumgartner. Baumgartner.
B-A-U-M.
I'm hoping I'm saying that right.
Okay.
Baumgartner.
What did he do?
He jumped from
Well, that's really good for him.
from the top of the Grand Canyon.
Well, nice.
No, he jumped from 120,000 feet today, which broke some
That's a
sort
lot
of
of feet.
records, and it's basically like 24 miles or so. The edge of space, basically.
Okay, so here's the question.
He broke the barrier of sound, I believe, today.
Right. How long did it take him to fall?
9 minutes?
9 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. And did he hurt himself?
No, actually, if you go watch the video, it's pretty. Have you guys seen it?
I haven't seen it. No.
Okay, he actually
You're gonna tell us
lands
about it.
really swiftly. He just kind of
But with a parachute.
with
He
a
didn't
parachute, yes, but
Ah.
So he was
they did it
technically-
in Roswell, which was interesting to me.
So is this
but,
like what they call a base jump? Is that what that's
No,
called?
because you have to jump off of something to be a base jump. There's nothing
Well-
that's 120,000 miles tall.
Well, what got him up there?
120,000 feet.
he went up in a balloon, shuttle sort of thing. I didn't get to watch it. I was working today.
Oh, like a weather balloon kind of thing?
Basically, yeah, he went up. It took him, I believe, like 2 hours to get as high as he needed to go. Actually,
And
in the
then 9
balloon.
minutes down.
Yeah, and then just jump
Hello,
straight out of
gravity.
it. And it's just really interesting because if you watch the video with him falling, I mean, you'd think, like, you know, you just fell 120,000 feet. You'd roll a little bit or trip over your feet. No, he was prancing like the elk, just very
Was he showing
swiftly.
his butt?
Was his asshole unprotected?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he
I'm
was
just
full out
wondering.
spacesuit. It was pretty. I only saw the jump and the landing. I didn't see anything in between. So
Yeah, because for those 8.5 minutes, what the fuck? I mean,
It's just
what's there
falling.
to see? It's just like
Yeah.
So, right. Yeah.
But
well,
I
there you
believe
go.
it's testing for,
So was this completely
uses.
just a publicity stunt, or was this done for any sort of like scientific purpose?
Well, he's saying it's scientific purposes.
Okay. So he's proving that gravity exists. Well, we did that.
Well, I think he's proving that,
Probably a world
just kind of
record or
pushing.
something.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
sure it's a world record.
well, it
Yeah.
is. Part of it is
Literally.
just it's.
World record. There you go again.
It's pushing the limits of how high you can actually
Mm-hmm.
jump. I think he's
Well, was that the highest?
so far, yes.
No, but I mean, is that the highest we could possibly do that? Like, does the balloon pop beyond that? See, here's my thing about this. Like, okay, so it's like it's the edge of space, but what's the edge of space? Like like I've always wondered this. This is one of my interests in space flight. Is that when does it become just in the air and now you're in space? Like, where does space start?
When air stops,
Uh-huh.
space starts.
Okay.
Yes, there.
But isn't that a gradual thing? Like,
No.
is it suddenly just like, oh, there you go?
where he was, there was like 0.1% oxygen,
Okay.
basically. So
She's in a little spacesuit. I saw a picture, like, he's like in a little, like, cosmonaut kind of suit,
Oh,
little
yeah.
pressure suit.
yeah, so I could tell you more, but my computer died. So
Oh,
just-
I'm sorry. That's why you
That's what I
wanted.
was getting at.
I gotcha. All right.
It's a bunch of big scientific words that I don't have memorized. So,
It's all right.
but it's cool and
It is
check
cool.
out if
That's
you
that's
haven't.
that's really neat. I mean, it's I don't know. It's crazy. I've always considered myself to be rather technological and rather kind of with it, but like the things we're doing now are just. I guess I'm getting old, but like the things we're doing now are just boggling my mind. Like that's like who would have thought that? Like even 3 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, who would have thought? Oh, we're gonna jump from the edge of space. We're gonna have a guy just like jump.
Well, part
from
of me
space.
thought today was thinking about it, and it's just like, well, this guy jumped from the edge of space. What did you do today?
Exactly.
Is how I felt.
Yeah,
I've
I
never
could-
felt such like.
I complained that my back hurt. and I
Yeah,
had
I've
to
never
go to
felt
work
like such
this
a,
morning.
a pitiful human being
I
as I
flipped
did
off an
today.
old lady on the interstate. I feel accomplished.
But the thing is, you did it at the speed of sound.
Like
Exactly.
literally, as much as I hate that word, as he was doing this, I was making salsa in a QFC in Capitol Hill.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Well, that's never fun.
Yeah. So, but it was cool, and people. It's the beauty of Facebook, which is how I kind of kept up with everything. They were streaming it, and lots of my friends.
None of my friends on Facebook posted.
Any fucking thing
Yeah,
like that.
it was
They were like,
really
"Eh, who
exciting to
cares?"
see people
Whatever.
just freaking
Oh, God,
out,
yeah.
seeing it, and just apparently.
You
it
know,
was just, like,
that's something to talk about. It's actually something I was thinking about when we were at the Cosmosphere. Is do you think that the space age is just over? You know what I mean? Like you're saying, like a lot of people are like, yeah, a guy jumped from space today,
No
whatever,
biggie.
big
Yeah.
big whoop. Because I kind of felt that way too. It's like there was such a huge, and I think this is why there are conspiracy theorists, is that so much happened so quickly. Especially when we're going through this museum and seeing how things, I mean, John F. Kennedy famously said, we're going to put a man on the moon and get him back by the end of the decade. So they had, like 6 years or something like that to, like, figure that out. And they did it. And so that's not easy to leave the Earth, put somebody on a celestial body, and get them back.
Especially with the technology that they had at the time.
Right, exactly.
Well,
So it
one
was
really interesting piece that there's this wall that basically has the battle between NASA and like Russia,
The
and
CCP or whatever.
yeah,
they call
and
it,
all
like,
of the different attempts by each one to try to beat each other to the moon.
Right.
And I think it was like 11 attempts by one, and just all these fails, and like they were doing them like every few days.
Yeah, it was interesting how clearly of a race it was too. I never really realized it until now. It wasn't just like it wasn't about space flight. It was about doing it first. Because I'd never known this before, but there's something, I forget what they called it, but there's actually this little ball that Russia sent up that is made up of doubloons. It's a ball full of little like I don't know what, like octagon shaped doubloons, and it makes a ball. And it was inside one of their capsules that they sent to the moon. So They sent the capsule to the moon. It landed. It popped this ball out and spread these doubloons all over the moon that basically just have, their whatever their
logo
version
on
of
it.
NASA is, like,
Yeah.
just saying, "Hey, we were here first." Just so that anything that ends up going to the moon goes, "Oh,
So-
look, the Russians got here
Screw the
first."
So
footprint.
they littered, basically. They're the first
Right,
interstellar litterers.
Interstellar litterers, right? And I'm like, my thing was like, just think about
I'm surprised there wasn't somebody from New Orleans like, hey, throw me some over
I
here.
thought about that actually. the first interstellar Mardi Gras. I like it. No, but the thing is like, think about the thought that goes into building something that complex just for bragging rights.
Yeah.
Just to say nah.
Well, my thing, who's gonna see it? Like,
A lot of history and a lot of mankind's greatest achievements were done as a pissing contest. Basically,
Right.
I'm gonna do something better and faster and and more fuel efficient than you can. So
Right. But anyway, what I was saying before, I don't know, it was a little bit saddened, going through and looking at all the space stuff, because we don't do that anymore. Like, we don't, like, there used to be at the time that there was it was like manned, like, after we figured out how to do it, there was like a manned mission to the moon like once every few months or something like that, like we focus on the first one, but we don't realize like there was like 12 other people that went up there and did stuff. And I guess of course they said, well, how many moon rocks can we really dig up? How many millions of dollars do we want to spend just to go like collect some more moon rocks? There's nothing there, But then again, it's just like none of this technology is really around anymore. Like, I don't know. It's hard to describe what I'm trying to get at, but I just don't think there's any interest in it anymore. And it's like, big whoop, we went to another planet. It's like, no, we fucking went to another planet. Think about that for a second. I don't know. People are jaded.
and a lot of the news stories of the time and the movies about that period will tell you too. I mean, mankind got bored with it.
Uh-huh.
We just lost interest with it, and then the PR, the spin people told us something else was more valuable and more worth our attention.
Yeah.
and so we just lost interest in it. And if the people lose
Facebook.
interest in it, then
We're more interested in Facebook.
who wants to follow that up?
Here's another side of that, though. Being up close and personal with a lot of this technology, in this museum, and you're looking at things, a lot of it is made out of aluminum foil and like super glue.
Very thin aluminum foil too.
Yeah, and not only just the ships, and like I kind of get that. It's like, okay, well, it needs to be lightweight, it needs to reflect the sun, that kind of thing. But then also they've got like a little pack, like things you don't even know what they are. Like, there was this little box that was just, what was it called? It was just called like remote interface. That's all it was called. And it just looked like some random like thing you'd see in Star Trek, and it had random buttons on it that really weren't labeled anything. They were just buttons. And again, that's when the conspiracy theorist kind of pops out at me and goes, "What the hell is that? That's nothing." It's like, it's 30 years later. When do we go to the moon? 60 something?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, that many years later, and I can't tell you what this old piece of technology is. I should be able to know what that is, but I don't know what that is. It's just a box with buttons on it. So is that real, or is that just like Hollywood? Ooh, we went to the moon.
Well, it's interesting to think about. It's an interesting thing to think about. I mean, yeah, a lot of the materials that, were used were so simple, and like today was an example of that. Yeah, he went up there, helium balloon.
Helium balloon.
Just
Keep it simple, stupid, huh?
just a very thin and sensitive helium balloon.
Well, you know why he went up there in a balloon, right?
No.
Planes can't fly that high.
Yeah. But it's just a regular helium balloon.
Mhm.
No big deal. 128,000 feet.
It's not like you're saying. It's not like they built a special
Yeah.
contraption to get him up there. It's
Just
just a
no big
freaking
deal.
balloon. Like, no, I get it.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a high altitude balloon. Yeah.
Right. It is an expensive contraption. It
I mean,
certainly
people
is.
have been up that high before, but I mean, he's the first one that's ever like dived off.
Yeah.
Well, I've taken this balloon as far as I can go. Woo.
Yeah. But no, he first person ever to break the speed of sound. So
That's kind of nuts.
that's what he was getting at today.
So it's kind of like he had kind of like the biggest head rush in history. Like
I
he's gonna
bet.
feel that
It's
when
a
he
lot
gets
of
home.
G-forces.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Red Bull. He probably missed the whole thing, actually.
It was interesting seeing the very first pressure suit of the Cosmosphere as well, because basically it was just like it was just a shoe for your body. Like it was just a thing that had two parts, and you'd tie yourself in really tight, and that was a pressure suit because it was pressuring you. It was Keith was basically just tugging on you the whole time. It was kind of creepy.
But, yeah, keep your skin from blowing
From
up
exploding,
off of your
yeah.
body.
Yeah, and there are all these photos like, this is what would happen if the pressure suit fails.
Yeah, basically your blood boils in space. It's kind of nuts.
Good
However,
stuff.
we did see the couch that the first primate in space actually sat on. That was kind of cool. Yeah. Now here's what you mentioned this when we were there. It's like you couldn't do this today because apparently, I mean, I guess I'd heard this, but it just didn't really sink into. You're looking at it and you're like, wow, they did this. Like basically, the seat that the monkey was sitting in was electrified. So that's how they taught him to kind of fly the spaceship correctly, is
Yeah.
that if he did it wrong, he'd get shocked. And if he did it right, he'd get like a treat. And I'm like, yeah, not so much we could get away. Maybe that's why we don't explore space as much anymore. We just can't get away with
Since he's upset about this.
You're right, though, man?
Just wanted attention.
Yeah,
wanna
it's
go to
more
space.
attention
I'm
hog.
for.
All right. So, Paul, well, we were gone for 2 weeks. What were you up to?
I worked.
You worked? Is that all you did?
Yeah, that's all I did.
Okay. No wild parties or no,
No,
like,
He's pleading the fifth.
I don't have any friends. This is it.
we
This
need
is
to
what I
do
do.
it, right?
That's why we
This
went
is
to
it right
Kansas.
here. This is my friend.
Okay, so,
No, things
porn
were,
and,
things were normal, and
uh-huh.
just enjoying the cool weather, the cold snap that has finally hit in.
Mm-hmm. This is Paul's first winter in the Northwest, and it'll be interesting to see how you fare it.
I've been in cold weather before. I enjoy it.
Okay.
As long as I have a heater and central heat to return to at home every night.
As long as I'm somewhere warm.
And
because
not a
I won't be
tent.
camping out in the freezing cold.
I don't get it. I think we're just camping at the wrong time of year or something. 'Cause it's
Well, both
just-
times we did it,
What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to build a really big fire.
I did
Then
that.
when it cools off, you put a bunch of dirt on top of it. Then you build your tent on top of that. And then you sleep on the hot coals.
kind of like lava hot springs.
Yeah,
Are
exactly.
you serious?
Yeah, you can do
You're
that.
really supposed to build your tent over the fire?
Well, I mean, if you're in a survival situation, not your tent, because your tent would catch fire or melt
Right.
or something like that. But in a survival situation, they teach you that you can spread hot coals out in like a little, like dig yourself a little trench,
Uh-huh.
spread your hot coals or even hot rocks that you heat up in the fire.
Right.
Cover them with dirt, and then you can lay on that, and the radiant heat coming up will keep you warm all night.
That's like those crazy Christians that walk on coals. Thinking they can walk on. Anyway.
I don't think it's the Christians that do
Okay,
that.
walking. Paul, I want to know about Walking Dead. I've been hearing about this all day, but falling from space was more important to me. So
Well, that's the reason why the guy jumped. He realized the Walking Dead premiered tonight. And he needed
I
to
gotta get
in a
home.
hurry.
Jesus Christ.
Got 9 minutes to get there.
well, what was interesting is that I was at first shocked by some of the people who were so interested in Felix's little mission today. But then I remembered, well, the Saints had a bye week.
A bye week?
So
What does that mean?
They weren't playing this weekend.
Yeah, they're off.
The
Why do they
Saints
call
were
it a
off.
bye week? What does that mean?
I think that's what that means. I
It's
don't
called
know.
a bye week because that's
'Cause-
a football term that they use to say
Like they're
that
not.
we're off.
Yeah. So basically, the Saints didn't play today, so people watched it. It would have been interesting to see which program a lot of people would have preferred.
I don't think they're on at the same time. I mean, unless the Saints played a night game, which hardly anybody plays night games.
Oh, not
It's
Walking
usually just
Dead.
the
I
West
mean,
Coast.
Falling from Space.
Oh, Falling from Space. Well,
Do I watch
That
that,
was-
live coverage?
that
The season
would've been-
premiere of Falling
that
from
would have been
Space.
halftime entertainment. 9 minutes worth of just everyone staring up, going.
Well, just like everything else, you know that there's going to be a spinoff that show, Falling from Space.
Falling from
You know,
Space.
there's going to be Falling from the Sun, Falling from the Moon. You know, it's
I
just
already
it's
have
going
Falling
to be.
Skies.
Then there's going to be a
TBS.
contest to see who's going to be the next contestant on Fall from Jupiter.
Well, I have to give
Celebrity
our
falling from
friend.
space. Let's see which celebrities we want to sit up there and drop them from the
Ooh,
stratosphere.
I like that one.
I have to give our friend Blake Peaty credit. He had the best status today, which was we all just witnessed the most expensive Red Bull commercial ever made.
That's what I'm thinking too.
It was beautiful. Anyway, Walking Dead? Walking Dead.
You're into The
Yes.
Walking Dead. Tell us about that. Like, I've never even seen the show. Well, you had it on the other day, but I couldn't follow it. The cop was talking too quiet.
What it is, it's a graphic novel. It's a TV show based on a graphic novel that's very popular. I personally have never read the graphic novel. I do want to go back and read it now that I started enjoying the show. It's technically your basic zombie flick, but with less about hunting the undead and more about dealing with life after the undead have taken over the world.
Mhm.
And
It's a very realistic thing. It's
right,
really,
and there's
yeah.
power plays, there's intrigue, there's affairs and things. So it's the whole human experience, but you can't just you have to deal with the authority situation yourself because there's nowhere to go to because it's undead everywhere.
Mhm. Here's what I never understood about undead: is if if you shoot them in the head, it does have to be the head, right? You have to shoot.
You have to
zombies
destroy
in
the
head.
brain.
You have to destroy the brain. Okay, so if you shoot someone who's a zombie in the head, then they're dead for good now. So
Right.
there's not
Once
like
the
a
brain
there's
is
like
destroyed, they can no longer
there's not like a
be
second
animated.
undead. So then why don't when you've got this situation going, how come when someone dies they don't just like shoot them after they're dead and then you don't have to worry about it?
There's some zombie spin-off futuristic societies where they actually, as part of the burial process when someone dies, they chop the head off. And they bury the head separate from the body so that they can't come back to life. So that was
But the
something
body could
interesting.
find the head if it's still.
Well,
Well,
no,
if
the
it's
body's
Halloween.
unanimated without a head.
Oh, true.
Yeah, you could possibly reattach it. I don't know, but still, it's interesting.
It is. It's scientific in a way.
And see that's the best thing about zombie, because I mean, you take your vampire flick, you take your Frankenstein, you take your Wolfman. All of this can really be said to be supernatural and far-fetched, but zombies are something that people really cling to because it could happen. You could see the military trying to develop a bioweapon that animates corpses to attack your enemies. You fire that gas over onto Russia, and all the Russians come up out of the soil and start
Freaking
eating their loved
Russians.
ones.
Russians, they're the ones. They're always beating us to the
Exactly,
punch, man.
So, I mean, it's possible.
That's
And I think
terrifying.
I think that's why sci-fi people like it, because there is an element of reality with it.
Okay, so on the show, are there
The
like
show is-
undead horses and undead
Not
like
that
in
I've
video
seen.
games?
No, I mean, basically they follow a very strict zombie protocol in this storyline where the zombies only attack the living humans.
Mm-hmm.
They don't eat each other for the most part. Some zombies
For the most part.
do, and they're pretty like slow walkers. They're not like Dawn of the Dead. Like Romero just had people just going apeshit crazy and climbing buildings and stuff like that. But these guys are just your standard zombies.
Why can't we just take the passive approach here? I mean, why can't they just sit these zombies down and just have a nice little, hey, look, you guys can have your area, we'll have our area. You can like here. Okay, so what make your campaign for the what do the zombies want?
Brains.
They want brains, but you see, you just said that all they have going for them is brains. So like, why don't they just eat each other's brains?
Because their
And-
brains are dead. They it's obviously, I mean, if you want to get into it, there's probably some kind of biochemical substance that they need out of the living flesh that they don't get from anything else.
So when someone becomes a zombie, is it kind of like a haunting where you go after those who did you wrong when you weren't a zombie? Are they in their same state
That's a
of
good
mind?
question. Who are the targets of zombies?
I mean, that all depends on who's writing the story. Do you want them to be? Do you want them to have some kind of remembrance of their past lives? And
I guess I'm forgetting that this is fictional. Now I'm like really getting into this, so I
Oh,
can
it's
sleep
not.
tonight.
It's not. All the bath salts are turned. Where zombie apocalypse is
yes.
here, man. Like, there's people eating people's faces and stuff. Now, there's a question too. So, like, okay, so if a zombie, eats a human, and then that human becomes a zombie after that, right? So, but does not the zombie become a human?
No.
Because see, here's the thing: if they're after brains, like then the brain juice or whatever has to like give them something. Like if you just eat the brain and then you're still a zombie and then you go off to the next brain, like it didn't really do you much good. You know what I mean? It's like beating a dead horse or dead person, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it works that way.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll never understand the mind of a zombie, and that's why there's still unrest between zombies and humans. We just, we're not taking the time to really understand
It's
these
become
people.
very big though because there's a new, I
That's
think
what
there's
she
a new
said.
reality show. There was a commercial on tonight with the Walking Dead premiere,
Where I think there's either a new reality show or there's some kind of new like game or something where you can actually run a 5K race, and there's people dressed as zombies throughout the obstacle course that you have to avoid
Ooh,
while you're running
yeah.
the 5K race.
That sounds awesome.
And it's basically flag football. You have flags. If the zombies grab your flags, you're basically lunch. So,
Lunch.
but
like lunch.
zombies are a big thing. They're becoming really popular. Look for the next, teen heartthrob book series to probably be, I'm in love with a zombie.
Zombies, the new werewolves or vampires.
Mhm.
Yeah, something like
I
that.
guess
Well, I'm
each one
sure
has
there'll be a
tier.
Glee version at some point. I mean, it's all about Glee.
I mean, zombies sparkle too. You have to shoot them with glitter, but they'll sparkle.
Yeah.
Shit.
Skin complexion's not great on the zombies generally.
They're a bit dirty.
What's the gestation period for a zombie? Like, do you become a zombie right away, or do
That's
you?
all different. It depends on who's writing the story. I mean, it could be instantaneous. Like we play the game Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Undead
You got to
Nightmare.
play that.
And it's almost instantaneous. As soon as they bite, boom, they turn.
Yeah.
But
Games
in
work a little quicker.
This one, they
Yeah.
like tonight, one of the characters got bitten and they didn't turn instantly, but he might turn later on. You just have to watch for the virus and see what happens.
Cool.
Got
Well,
it.
I need a new show since they're
It's a really good
Breaking
show.
Bad has decided to torture all of us until next summer.
Yeah.
So.
I'm missing my
You should
Breaking
go back
Bad.
and watch from season 1. That way you get the whole backstory and everything.
Oh, this
Who's
isn't a new
involved.
show.
No, this is
Season 3.
Where have I been? Jeez.
We haven't had cable.
Zombies must have eaten my brain or something.
And it's on AMC, the same as Breaking Bad. AMC is really putting out some superb
Yeah.
and quality shows right now.
Mhm.
So I would definitely suggest it. I mean, even if you don't like zombies, just watching the human story unfold. The end of the world, what happens when, people that you thought were your best friends are, now trying to kill you and stab you in the back kind of thing.
It's like regular life.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, so we're
we
starting to
on
run out of time here, and so we'll start wrapping it up.
Another story.
Did we cover everything? Well, you wanted to talk about something else? It's all right. It's our show. It's a podcast.
Yeah, fuck
Ain't
it.
no commercials here yet.
Exactly.
what you got?
Well, when we talked about space earlier, about jumping, and then you talked about the space stuff. But the Endeavour finally landed and finally made its home in Los Angeles.
Oh,
How
yes.
They had the parade of the Space Shuttle Endeavour down there. How we were talking about this the other day.
Yeah,
I
they
thought
drove it through downtown LA at like 4 miles an hour.
Exactly.
It's
You know,
retiring
so-
in LA.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
again, the traffic really wasn't much different in LA this weekend. But
And that wasn't even the worst part. They
Yeah.
actually cut down trees, removed stop signs and power lights and all this other stuff to make room for it down Martin Luther King Avenue, which I hope it's a big avenue. I
Yeah.
mean, they went so far as to, but they avoided like trees that were planted in Dr. Martin Luther King's honor, but cut down like over 100 different trees throughout the city to make room for this.
I guess I was wrong. I guess we do still care about the space race. Huh?
Well, what pisses me off is, doesn't this fucking thing fly? I mean,
No, it doesn't. It has no engine.
well, they used to put it on top of the big Boeing jets. Couldn't they have just, like piggybacked it to LA and not drove it down the street? What the fuck?
No, it's a Red Bull commercial.
Exactly.
It's
And see,
like
that's why. That's why we give a shit about this. We give a shit about the guy jumping from the balloon. It's because it's sponsored and people make us pay attention
Well,
to this.
I guess
Was there
there's
the
probably a
little-
big like Yahoo banner on the side of it the whole time it was.
There's a
going
PR
down
exec
there.
somewhere in New York who's got a little puppeteer's string system, and we are connected on the other end of the string, and he makes us dance the way he wants us to
Well,
dance.
Right.
was there like a little pink flag in the back that said like "Why load" or?
It's not pink, it's red.
What pink?
It's a red flag.
It wasn't a gay pride parade.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's how they do it in Idaho,
Yeah,
I
that's
guess.
was that the story? Just that they were doing that?
Yeah, I
or-
just thought that was just odd that they actually cut down trees to move this. 268 trees were cut
Oh,
down. in this
jeez!
city.
Like I thought you meant like, oh, we can't make the corner here, so we're just gonna kind of trim that off.
268 trees were cut
Good
down.
God!
Like they couldn't pick a better street or a
I guess
wider
not.
load.
And
Yeah,
they had to
well, what-
they had to zigzag. They couldn't find one street that was big or wide enough that they'd just go through the city. They had to zigzag throughout the city to find the perfect path. At some point, you just
We're just
put the fucking
fucked
thing
as
on
a human
train
race.
and just-
We're just fucked.
I mean,
like,
were
we
there
just
lots of
can't even,
spectators? Like,
yeah,
was
that
this
was
an
the thing.
event?
I think that's.
or...
I mean, it was a publicity stunt. They wanted people to see it,
Yeah.
you know, and feel national pride or at least civic pride that they are getting the space shuttle, you know, at their museum or wherever the hell they're going to put it. But
Yeah.
at some point, why can't you just send out a flyer to people? Hey, you got a space shuttle? Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, I wonder how many people there were like, "Ooh," and how many people were like, "God, you bastards!
I
I'm
can't
late
get to
for
work,
I
man.
can't
Well, that's how I would have been. It's not like the damn thing's
about the-
flying anywhere. It's
The
not
guy
like
that
it's.
comes home at 5 o'clock goes, "Where the fuck's my tree?"
Jeez.
Yeah. See, again, though, I'm with you. It's like, you know, I don't like being a conspiracy person, but the thing is, it's like I don't have that much faith in us. Like I don't. It's like the idea, and it hit me again when we were there at the Space Center. Like looking at this, I'm like, okay, fine. You figure out the trajectory, you know, to get something to the moon. That's fine. But then you have to think, well, wait, you got to get back, and like. That's complicated. Like they had to lift off from the moon, attach it to another thing, and then get the trajectory right to get back to Earth, which is like 8 light minutes away or whatever, you know. So it's like, well,
And it took 3 men with the computer power
yeah,
of a calculator
right, exactly.
that did that.
But we can't get a space shuttle through downtown LA without cutting the whole fucking town apart. Like,
Exactly.
That's my point. It's like we've made absolutely no progress as a human race.
It's like we send people up into space and we're all still like monkeys looking up at the sky. Oh, you know,
I don't get it. All right. So,
But we jumped
we jumped. We did jump from a weather balloon.
because Felix
Because
jumped.
that's
but
important.
he's not even American. He's Australian, so I don't know how
Oh, then
much
fuck that.
credit
See?
we can take.
God, they beat us again. Look at that. We're never the first in anything. Just
Jeez.
copy of everybody.
But he did it in America, so congrats to him.
Yay! No, that is cool. Now you know he's gonna get pussy for the rest of his life.
He's
now.
pretty
It's
young,
Like he's gonna be
too.
like, you know, hey, I was the guy that freaking jumped from space, baby. What you got? I don't know. Whatever.
Is that a pickup line?
I guess. I fell from. It's like that whole. Oh, you must have fallen to Earth. Well, I did, baby.
You know what would have been hilarious though?
Yeah.
After he comes in, while he's up there,
Well, funny at least, not necessarily hilarious.
all of
but-
his friends go into his house, remove all his clothes, and replace them with exact duplicates that are like 2 sizes longer than they used to be. And all this
Oh,
pain.
crap!
What the hell? Did I really hit that hard?
Yeah.
That would've
Nice.
been
It's
funny.
just the landing. It's like, hey guys. So I just did that. What's for dinner? You know, it's very, it's very no big deal.
Tang. We're having Tang for dinner.
Too.
So,
that
cool. Yeah, that's it. So, I think we covered everything. Yeah. So thanks, everyone for listening. And thank you too for joining me. Thank you. It was nice to have Tony here in the flesh, or nice to have Tony's flesh here.
Hot.
Tony's got nice flesh.
So we're gonna try to get
Tony's
back
a
to
zombie
our
all over
weekly try to get back to our weekly regiment here, so that people know when to tune in. So go ahead and so check out the YouTube page. where we're going to be posting a lot of stuff. I'll put a lot of stuff up this week. So it's Manguno Drive Show is the channel on YouTube. Why are you smirking at me? All right.
We'll cover it next week.
Okay. Uh-oh. He's looking at too many things.
Funny picture.
Okay. So we're posting a lot of stuff there. Go to mangunodrive.com to get the actual podcast, and we'll put the pictures up there from the trip. Or just go to iTunes and subscribe to the iPod. I'm very proud of that. I got us up on iTunes there.
Wow, we're big shit.
We're a big shit now, hopefully. And hopefully we'll have some graphics and logos and stuff coming up soon, too. So we'll be, But what's going to be really important is for you guys listening to actually go and comment on either the YouTube channel, go to Facebook, comment there, subscribe. That's really important. Just really easy. Just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and all of that stuff.
We need a cult.
So that we can build our little
Send you
cult
Kool-Aid.
here, and we can start talking about Christian doctrine and things. That's what this all is. Huh? No, but it helps us to know that you guys are out there, and it also helps to know what you want us to cover. We're just going to keep talking about stuff that's interesting to us nerds, unless you tell us differently. So, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, and we will do as the monkeys do, and we will conform, and give us the shock.
Yes,
give us a shock or a treat.
We won't be puppeteers and make you dance to our will.
So next week, how close are we to Halloween?
2 weeks away.
2 weeks away. So next week we should probably have a Halloween show. We'll have a special Halloween show next week.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do it at midnight. That one could be fun. No, you guys
Fancy.
don't like that idea. Okay, we'll talk about it.
I have coffee first.
Next week, I will be in Vancouver, BC, Canada.
So if that's not scary enough, I mean,
I'll be tuning in from Vancouver.
Yeah.
You can call in. We can Skype you.
Yes.
You'll be in costume now.
Why not?
You have to wear some sort of sexy pirate.
I'll be dressed like a
you see
Canadian.
the skeleton hand halters. You can wear those.
Ah, yes.
Those are cute.
Well, Halloween has turned into lingerie with animal ears. I think for women.
I could be sexy vampire, or I could be sexy
Bunny
ghost
rabbit
pirate.
and yeah.
So I'm going to turn on your camera here because I believe that the deal that we made with the listeners last week was that if we got 12 likes on the new Facebook page, that we'd see live in the flesh Paul's clitoris impression. And I believe
never had the pleasure.
that if you go to the
Tony does a much more lifelike impression.
that's not an impression. I'll give you an impression of Rick clitoris. And I believe that the total likes was 17 on the page.
Oh.
So
You really want to disappoint your viewers.
That's like an impression and a half, I believe.
listen to you with she's always the math genius.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got your camera live,
I see that. Yeah.
and whenever you're ready, we'll present
Take us out
to
with
the
the
Manguno
clitoris.
obvious. We'll take us out with the infamous clitoris impression.
I don't want to knock anything off here.
Well, this is a crazy
for
thing. I
safety.
mean, this is a dangerous thing. Do not try this at home.
The thing is, I don't even remember the joke. That was the
I don't remember either. I think you were just talking. It's just one of those things. You're just talking about, it's like, what do you think I am? Some huge clitoris that goes, whatever, and he did it, I think.
All right, yeah,
You don't have to have a reason to talk about clitoris.
Thigh.
Clitoris, thigh. It's just, they're there. They're a part of our society, and, we can't really be too prejudiced against them because they have rights too.
Well, then, on that note, and I have no choice, but okay, here we go, folks. This is the famous clitoris impression.
He's preparing.
Thank you.
Did
Thank
you
you.
just do a clitoris
Thank-
impression?
He just did do a clitoris impression.
Clitoris impression.
Did your clitoris make that sound? I've never noticed it.
Then you're not doing it right.
So we saw jumping from the stratosphere, and we saw a clitoris impression. It's been a good day.
It has been. It's been an interesting month. All right, so you're gonna take us out, Paul.
Yes.
All right, I need to find your thing here. By the way, we're also looking at people to help us out with the show in any way they can. If you're a musician, I can't find a I can't find a good
I like the
intro
one we had,
music
the
that
intro. I thought that was fun.
You like the surfing music?
I like the surfing music.
Okay, we can use the
It's
surfing
quirky.
music for now, but I kind of want something that's made just for us. You know what I mean?
Well, eventually, when we become
I'm a princess.
really, big time, we'll hire someone.
Yeah,
to do that
money.
stuff. Yeah. But right now,
All right.
it's all about news stories and clitoris impressions.
Well, good. What more do you need in space? Ooh.
So hit the
All right.
music.
All right. So thanks for joining us. That was the Manguno Drive show.
Yes. This has been the Manguno Drive show, a Manguno Drive production. And
There it is.
join us next week. We'll have more fun stuff, and we'll do more body part impersonations.
Special Halloween.
Yeah, the special Halloween edition. So
And Tony in Canada.
yeah, in drag in Canada. So this has been the Manguno Drive show, and we appreciate your patronage. And that's it, folks. I don't know what else to say except
See you next time.
on behalf of Kaylin Thibodeau and Tony Lynn Guidry, I am Paul Cook. Thank you for viewing.
Okay. That's it, folks.
My ears hurt.
Mine too.
You're listening to my voice for an hour,
No, I
Anna.
don't do well with earbuds. I never have.
Yeah.
All right. Another one in the can.
Okay.